As an intro, my name's Erin Harlan. I'm part of the product marketing team here at Smartsheet. And I'm joined today by my colleague Steve Brown, who is also on our product marketing team and who is one of our primary architects for our new Solution Center. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
So today we're really excited to introduce our new Solution Center. If you haven't seen it already, we'll walk you through that. And also our template sets that are available in the Solution Center. So some of our learning objectives today are we're going to learn how to download and use a template set from the Solution Center. We're also going to learn how to put together the pieces of your template solution. And we're going to talk about some best practice, additional features, and next steps. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to hand it over to Steve to kind of introduce us to what is a template set and walk us through the workflow for this template set that we're going to be talking about today.
Great. Thank you, Erin. Just to kind of set the stage for what template sets are, I think a lot of people today are familiar with single templates. Whether you're new to Smartsheet or whether you've used something like Excel in the past, you're familiar with the idea of single templates. Template sets are a little bit different in that they're actually multiple objects, and they could be a series of sheets or dashboards and reports that we've actually done some of the work to pre-wire them for you. The idea here being to help you get going a little bit faster in what you do. And the template set that we're covering today is the Project Tracking and Rollup template set. And to start things off, I want to give you the high-level overview of what the components are in the template set. So the first piece of this is a simple project sheet. And in this project sheet, we've added things like filters and formulas and the Gantt timeline, and we've even added some notifications to that. And next, from there, we've created a couple of reports that are pulling from that project sheet. The two reports in particular, one is an at-risk tasks report, and a second one is a project milestones report. And these will feed directly into a project roll-up dashboard. And this dashboard is really the window into all that's happening around the project. And finally, we take all these elements and we put them into a workspace. And before I move forward and start to dig into the demo and show you these, how to put these together, I should note that template sets, we take full advantage of the capabilities that Smartsheet has to offer, including things like dashboards and automations. Those aren't available in all plans. Things like dashboards and automations are available only in business and enterprise plans. Now, that's not to say if you're on a team plan, for example, that you can't still use these template sets. You absolutely can. When you go to use them, the elements that aren't available in your plan simply won't be provisioned to your account. So, for example, when you get this solution, you won't see the project roll-up dashboard. The automations won't be there. But otherwise, everything else is completely usable. And if you ever decide you want to upgrade your account to take advantage of something like the project dashboards, you can always go back and re-download this solution.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Do you want to jump in and actually show us what this looks like?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hand presenter controls over to you so that you can walk us through what this looks like.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to start here. This is something that I have already put together. I just want to start with kind of the end product of what we're going to build today. So this is the dashboard component of the template set. And this is really a dashboard where you can monitor everything about your project. You can organize some key project links. You can add in some of the resources for your project, documents from different places, from different services like Google Drive or OneDrive. You can attach those in here. You can communicate information about your project. I have an example here on the right, key contacts, where we're just listing out some fictitious people who may be involved in this project. And down below, we're pulling in a couple of reports. The first one is the at-risk tasks report. And the second one is the project milestones report. So you can get a great overview of everything in this template set starting from this dashboard. Now, moving on, let's start by actually getting this template set. So I'm going to visit our new Solution Center. And the best way to get there is by clicking this plus tab right up here at the top. That plus tab is going to open up the new Solution Center. If you haven't opened this up before, it's going to open up on this Create tab right here. So for Create, you can do a lot of things in our Solution Center. Create is great if you want to start from something blank. This is a simple project sheet. This is a Kanban card view, a task list. So we have some very basic elements that you can get started from. You can also import from Excel, Project, Google Sheets, Trello. If you have something else that you're working on today and you want to start working on that in Smartsheet. And moving down a little bit, in the Browse All Solutions, this is where you can really explore the breadth of everything that we have to offer. And the Solution Center really is designed first and foremost to be a showcase of possibilities, to help give you ideas, to help give you a running start in what you want to do. And as I mentioned earlier, you really have unlimited access to our free templates and template sets. Some of the things that we offer in the Solution Center, traditionally in our previous template gallery, as we called it, we had a lot of individual templates, which are right here in this middle row. Below that, you can explore some of the add-ons that we have available, things like Salesforce, connecting with Jira, some of our own apps like our calendar app. You can always come in here and explore those. And also we have links to some of the services that we have available, our consulting services, or if you need additional support or some training, you can always explore those in here as well. Now getting back to the project tracking and Rollup template set. Now, one little tip and trick I wanted to share first, if you want to see where all of our template sets are, because we don't yet have a separate category for template sets, you can always go into this search bar and simply type in template set. Now you see when I do that, that returns the first 12 template sets that we have in our initial release. We do plan on adding more in the future, and after this session today, we will be sending out a survey, and in that survey there's a question. We would love to get your feedback if there's other template sets that would be helpful for you that we can continue to build out. Now what I'm going to do is click on the Project Tracking and Rollup template set. It opens a little pane below that, and I'm going to click on the Use button here in the bottom right. I'm going to say Save. And what this is going to do is it's going to add it to my Sheets folder. Let me show you where it automatically opens up the sheet, but let me show you where that lives really quickly. You can see here under my Sheets folder in the upper left, it put the Project Tracking and Rollup sheet right here. So this is a sheet that gives you guidance on how to set things up. A couple things I want to call out here. I'm not going to walk through this in detail because we do cover a lot of the instructions in here in today's session. But one thing, if you're not sure which plan that you're on, we have a link right here to identify your plan and user type. Click here. This will actually take you to a place in the app that will tell you exactly which plan you're on. The other thing I wanted to call to your attention is you can always download the Getting Started guide. It's a PDF guide that you can print out. Use that as a companion as you're getting things set up. I'm not going to download this now because we're going to talk through some of these instructions today, but we have this available for all of the template sets. So as you're setting things up, refer to that document. It should help you work through the various steps of implementing a template set. And the next thing I'm going to do is to actually get the elements of the template set. And for that, this is in step 2. So this is download the template set, project tracking, and Rollup. So I'm going to click on this.
In the meantime, Steve, we do have some people who are asking questions around, are the template sets available to all plans? And yes, as Steve mentioned earlier, the template sets are available to all plans. They are optimized, though, for business and enterprise. So any plan, as long as you're a licensed user, you can download one of these sets. Just you may not necessarily have all the bells and whistles features depending upon your plan type. We'll talk more about that at the end of the webinar as well.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, Erin. So what you can see now is that we've actually gotten another folder in our Sheets folder, which is the default folder for any time you get a template or a template set. And you can see it says template set - project tracking and Rollup. I have this folder open right now, so you can see on the right side, here are the 4 elements that we had in that workflow. Now, one of the first things I'm going to do here, which is always a best practice to help you stay organized, It'll help you simplify sharing and reporting further downstream, and that's to create a workspace. So I'm going to create a workspace now, and I'm going to give it a couple of special characters just so it jumps up at the top of my list, and I'm just going to say project tracking and roll up, and you see here that created the workspace. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up to this template set folder. I'm going to click on the folder, and that's going to move the folder and all of the objects into the workspace by clicking and dragging. Now, you will get this little pop-up window that this is just a helpful reminder to let you know if you've shared the workspace to people, anything you add in that workspace will by default be shared to the people that you've shared to. Now, I just created this and haven't shared to anybody yet, but this is just a reminder letting you know that anybody who has access to the workspace will now have access to what you're putting in that. So I'm going to say OK. And now you can see that folder has gone under the workspace.
And this is really a best practice, especially when you have multiple pieces to a solution the way that you have in a template set, because a workspace allows you to then to share the entire solution in one go rather than having to piecemeal and share individually.
So I'm going to get started here by opening up the Sheet project plan. Okay, this is the project plan, and this is what you'll see when you actually get the template set. And as you can see, we've already done a lot of work for you, including we've toggled on here on the right side this Gantt timeline. This is just a great visual representation of the project, and I'll talk through some of the things we've done to make the Gantt timeline particularly useful a little bit later. But I'm going to start this project by adding a start date for when we want the project to kick off. And I'm going to do that in the project kickoff for the very first task. So right now it says 3/5. I'm just going to modify that a little bit. I'm going to say March 20th, 2018. And notice when I do this, you're going to see that all the dates are going to recalculate, including the Gantt timeline is going to shift out a little bit to the right. And there you go. You've updated the entire schedule automatically. Now, a couple other things that we've done in here. Notice that as you're looking down at the various tasks and phases that we have some hierarchy in here, and you can collapse and expand hierarchy. One of the major benefits of Smartsheet is when you're indenting, and indenting is super simple. You see up here in the toolbar, there's two buttons right here, outdent and indent, is you're actually establishing a relationship between the parent rows and the children rows. And what this means is some of the data in the child rows will actually roll up automatically to the parent rows for things like dates, percentage complete, and duration. You don't have to worry about creating formulas in them. It will do it automatically for you. Now let's take the next step and start customizing some of the phases and names because I'm certain that what we have laid out here is not exactly what your project plan will be. So the first thing I'm going to do is just rename this first phase. So I have planning in here. I'm just going to call this initiation. And as you can see, it's as simple as just double clicking and typing over that. I'm going to add a couple of, replace some of these activities in here. So I'm going to say, hey, we're going to create a resource plan. We are going to create a financial plan. We are going to create an acceptance plan. And we are going to define the deliverables. And so on and so forth. So you can rename all of these phases and the activities to meet the needs of whatever type of project that you have. Now next, what I'm going to do is adjust the duration of each task. Now you can see over here we have a column that's named duration. I'm going to change this project kickoff. You see right now it says 5 days. I'm just going to change this to 2 days. And once I hit enter, you'll see on the right side that the Gantt timeline will shorten as well, as will the timeline overall will auto-calculate based on the shorter duration of this task. So there, you can see everything shifted based on that. And you can go down and change all the durations that you need to. And finally, the way we get everything to auto-calculate is by using predecessors, and we've already set that up. And the predecessors that we have are basically saying start each task after the prior task has finished. However, one thing I did want to show you, there are times when you want to have tasks work in parallel, for example. So I'll show you an example of how you can have some tasks happen in parallel. I'm going to go down in here to the execution phase, and there is a phase 1 and a phase 2, and let's say those two phases could actually happen concurrently. So the first activity in phase 2, the first task right here on row 15, currently this is saying start this immediately after activity 3 in phase 1. I'm actually going to change this from 13 to start immediately after the kickoff activity, which is the same time as phase 1 starts. And so I'm going to change that to row 9. And now you can see, if you look over here in the Gantt timeline, you can see phase 1 and phase 2 are both happening in parallel. Now, once you've set up your tasks and your durations and you're comfortable with your predecessors and you have your date set, unless you're an army of one, you're probably going to want to assign these tasks to other people. And so I'm going to do a couple things in here. I'm going to assign just some of these first tasks. Erin, I'm going to assign you a couple.
Yay, woohoo!
There you go. I'm going to assign myself a couple too. And I'm going to assign something to one of our colleagues. Well, I guess she has only, this is actually pulling in from our contacts list. And so however the name is listed in our contacts list, it will show up. But behind each of these in this assigned to column is an actual contact. And so we can do certain things based off of that contact type, including firing off notifications, seeing people's email, and so on and so forth. Now, once we have these owners, this is where Smartsheet can really start doing some of the work for you. One of the things as an owner, you probably want to be notified when something changes. And we have created one notification for you already that will let the assigned owners know anytime something changes for a task that they own. And let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to move up here to this top menu and click on Alerts and Actions. Now you can create additional notifications or set reminders, but like I said, we've already set one up for you, so I'm going to go down here to Manage Alerts and Actions. And now you can see here, this is one that we've set up. I'm actually just going to double click on this to show you how it works. So you can give it any name you want. We just call this notification. And what we're saying here is when a row is updated, so anytime something is changed, send a notification to, so the contact column was the assigned to, so what it's going to do is send a notification to the person that's listed in that contact column. The other thing I wanted to show you before I close this out is this delivery settings thing down here. I'm going to click on this link, and here you can add a personal message to let people know, hey, something has changed in this project plan. The important thing I wanted to note here was down here in this send option, you can actually decide the frequency of these sends. If you have a project plan that a lot of people are working in, you may not want to have notifications fire off right away, so you can batch them on a cadence that makes sense. I typically do once an hour for mine, so we have this one by default set to once an hour, but of course you can go in and adjust that. Okay, so now there's just a couple of things before I close out this project plan that I want to show you. A couple other tips and tricks. One is our shared filters, and we actually have a shared filter already set up for you. So up here in the toolbar, right now we don't have any filters on there. I'm going to click on this tab, and now you can see you can create a new filter if you want to. I'll show you what that looks like. You can create the name, you can add the criteria for your filter, and if you're a sheet admin or editor or an owner, you can actually click on the share filter. So once you've created the filter and it's shared, I'll cancel this out because I'm not going to create a new one now, but once you've created it, you click apply, and then anytime somebody who has access to the sheet, they go up here to the filter button and they'll actually see the filter you created listed here. The one we created now is an intelligent filter. It's called Tasks Assigned to Me. It knows that I have logged in and I'm looking at this sheet right now. So when I click on this filter, Tasks Assigned to Me, it's only going to show me the tasks that have been assigned to me. If Erin were looking at the same sheet right now, she would only see the 2 tasks that I assigned to her. Again, you can just simply toggle this off or toggle it on whenever you need to. A couple other things I wanted to show you before we move on. One is we have a formula for this at-risk column over here. Now this is a symbol column, and symbol columns are super easy to toggle flags on and off. However, in this case, we created a formula that will automatically flag things that are at risk. And the logic we have built in here is saying if the end date is in the past and the status is not complete, then flag this as something that's at risk. And so as you can see, we have a bunch of flags in here because I had set the start date in the past, and a lot of these tasks are obviously not finished yet. Another quick little thing, notice I have these little locks here. You can always lock rows or columns, and this means if you're not the admin or the sheet owner, that column becomes read-only for other people. So you would simply take that lock off if you want people to be able to toggle these manually. But otherwise, by locking this down, you're going to make sure that people aren't breaking the formula by accident.
And that's nice because it really lets Smartsheet do that work for you.
Yes, absolutely. And the last thing really quickly before I move on, I wanted to show you this activity log that we have. So over here on the right side, we have activity log. And this is a great place for anybody who has at least editor permissions to really see what changes were made, who made them, and when. I'll click on this really quickly. Obviously, I just created the sheet, so there's not a whole lot of activity. But here you have different slicers where you can filter on attachments, actions, comments. You can really know what's changed and when. You can filter on people, a date range, and you can really see what's happening down here. I know I use activity on almost all of my project plans and dashboards because one of the filters that we have in here is views. So it really gives you a sense of who's viewing your sheets, and so you know whether or not something like that is valuable. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on, and I'm going to jump to a slightly more complete version of this sheet that I've created. I'm just going to close this one out. I'm going to close out this sheet, and I'm going to show you a couple pieces. So for this dashboard, this first thing that I showed you, there's a couple of things that are feeding into these reports. So the first thing that we want to do to set up this dashboard is make sure that these reports are functioning. So we have two reports. The first one is a project milestone report, and I'll really quickly show you the logic in this report. I'm going to click on Report Builder, and in here you can see where, so I've selected the project sheet itself, the simple project plan, and because milestones are typically defined as having a duration of 0, we've set the criteria to say any task that is 0, and a task name is not blank, so we're not picking up any blank rows by accident. That is the report we want to generate. So anytime something changes in the project sheet, this report will automatically update for you. And we do the same thing in the at-risk tasks report. The only difference being in the report builder, the criteria that we set as at-risk is checked, which is the equivalent of it being flagged. And then moving back to the dashboard, as you can see, those two reports that we just created, we pulled them into this report using report widgets. And so you see your at-risk tasks and your project milestones. So if you're using this dashboard, you don't need to go back to those reports and look at those directly. You can always just come to this dashboard and get a quick overview of everything in one place. I'm really quickly going to run through some of the elements of this dashboard. What you'll want to do is click on this Edit button here in the upper left. And we have some widgets already created for you. Just click on the pencil here to edit them. So this first one is a metric widget. And I'm actually just going to add one piece of data to show you how easy this is. Add data. Now I've already selected the sheet for this metric widget, so it's going to pull up our project sheet again. So let's say I want to show the duration of this project in total. All you need to do is click on the cell, hit OK, and then I'm going to click Done. And now you see the duration right there. And again, anytime this changes in the project sheet, that will be reflected here. You can also edit. This is a simple title widget. Click on Edit. You can rename this whatever you want to. I'll just add one little word here to show you. Project Rollup Demo. And then we have some shortcut links in here. We have some project links. And anytime you're linking to something, let me show you what that looks like. Add a shortcut. You can link to a file, and we integrate with a lot of popular services out there. Or you can connect directly to a Smartsheet item. So I have two examples here. One is some Smartsheet items, and another one is a bunch of key resources for this project. And this last thing on the right side, the key context, this is actually a simple rich text widget. You can write whatever you want it to do in there and format the text however you see. And it's very easy. As you come in to customize this, you can delete these widgets. You can add new ones through this add widget up here. You can add charts from your data, the shortcut widget, reports, rich text, titles, etc. And so that is pretty much the end of the solution. I'm just going to jump back on one thing really quickly. I know we're almost out of time here. I'm going to click Save on this. And just to reiterate the benefits of the workspace, what you'll want to do is make sure you're inviting people into the workspace. And so you'll see here on this upper right corner, there's a sharing button. I've selected the workspace. You can click on sharing, and you can invite people in here to share at the workspace. And that way, anybody on your project team will automatically have access to all of the objects in that workspace, and you don't need to go and do it individually.
Which is great. It looks like we are almost at time here, so I do want to be respectful of people's time. But just jump back to a couple things to recap here, just because I know we were getting a lot of different questions. So as we mentioned before, the template sets are available in the Solution Center in the app. You click that plus tab in the app to get there, and they are available to all licensed users on all plans. Now, of course, they are optimized with some premium functionality, and some of those premium features are only available on business and enterprise plans. And those three things that are premium features are the activity log, which Steve showed you, dashboards, as well as some of our automated actions, so automated update requests and automated approval requests. Now, of course, you still can use a template set, and you just don't use the dashboard. Or if you're interested in learning how to take advantage of some of the premium features, you are able to upgrade your plan, or if you're not sure who to talk to, you can use this link below to contact our team, and they'll be happy to kind of walk you through some of the benefits of that. Last but not least, we've been getting a lot of questions about, well, can I create my own template set, or how do I customize things, or how do I integrate with other apps? And I just wanted to let you know that we have a bunch of additional resources for you. So the template sets are a great sort of framework that you can download and you can work from. So you don't have to start from scratch. And of course, you can customize those as much as you want and include additional things. But if you're interested in learning more about how do I build my own solution from scratch, or if you want to take a deep dive into some of the project management functionality, I'd encourage you to check out one of our training classes. We have a whole bunch of different training offerings, including one that's specific to project management, that do walk you through how do I build my own customized solution. And then, of course, last but not least, if you want some hands-on help building a custom solution yourself, maybe you want to connect it to or integrate it with other applications that you use, or you really want some custom functionality, we also do have a consulting team, and that's what they do all day long, is help build custom solutions. So you can learn more about both of our training and our consulting offerings on our services page at smartsheet.com/services. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Thanks so much.
Thank you.